third grade presentation, From Sea to Shining Sea. During this program, using narrations, songs, and quotes, we will tell you some of the main events in United States history and what is happening in our community to make it laugh at the same time. To begin our program, we will sing America the Beautiful. Scientists believe that the Native Americans in North and South America came from Asia. Long ago, there was a way to get to the Americas on the land bridge, over now which is called the Bering Strait. They believe the natives crossed the land bridge in search of food. Groups of people settled in different places such as valleys, plains, deserts, and forests. Each group had to learn to meet their needs for food, shelter, and clothing in different ways. This ability to change according to one's environment is called adaptation. The Native Americans who settled in Jamaica were hunters and gatherers. They collected acorns and rainbows called weavers.
Hunting made up only a small part of their diet. They wore little or no clothes. When they did wear clothes, it was for the protection from the cold. The Native Americans who lived in this area had 3 types of shelters they built from natural resources found here. The shelters were the kish, the mat, and the pit house. They were religious people who believed in one God. They believed He would reward them if they were good and punish them if they were bad. If they were really bad, He would send an earthquake or years of no rain.
Many people wonder how Temecula got its name. One legend is that an Indian chief, Nagish, stood on a hill looking down on a valley. He named it Temecula, which means sun shining through the mists.
In 1620, the Pilgrims arrived from England. They came to a new world because they wanted religious freedom. colonists who had come seeking freedom of worship, who no longer wanted to be part of England, they
they did not like the king's laws or his manner of enforcing them.
They fought back when the king sent soldiers trying to make them obey. This was the beginning of our Revolutionary War. Here is a voice from the past explaining some of the feelings of the time.
I am Thomas Jefferson, and I wrote these famous words in the Declaration of Independence. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men were created equals, and that they were endowed by their Creator with these certain inalienable rights. Among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness.
America won its independence from England, and our country continued to grow. Many people of different beliefs and backgrounds came to America.
The Temecula Valley was part of Mexico during this time. Mexico was under Spanish rule.
In 1797, Juan Norberto de Santiago came to this valley looking for a site on which to build a mission outpost for the San Juan Capistrano. He was the first European to see this valley. He did not build a mission here.
Later, Father Perry from San Luis Rey Mission met the Native Americans living here. The Native Americans soon became mission Indians. This changed their way of life forever.
Things changed again for the Native Americans in Temecula. Just as the colonists wanted to be free of the English rule, Mexico wanted to be rid of the Spanish rule. In 1821, Mexico won her independence from Spain. Pio Pica, the last Mexican governor of California, claimed ownership of the mission lands in the Temecula Valley. He and several others divided up, sold, or gave the land to individual Mexicans. They did this so the Mexicans could hold on to the land if the United States of America went to war over the land and Mexico lost. The Native Americans had become mission Indians and no longer had a place to live. While the Spanish, Mexicans, and the Americans were dividing up the West, the eastern part of the country continued to grow.
Daniel Boone began the Wilderness Road, which allowed settlers to cross the Appalachian Mountains and settle in Kentucky.
Always searching for more land or new experience, Americans built immigrant trails along which people moved from one area to another. The Southern Immigrant Trail was the route that passed through Temecula and then went north through Los Angeles to San Francisco.
Baseball has been the friendliest segment for more than 100 years.
Even though the game has gone through many changes in the rules and equipment, the first game of baseball was played in Hoboken, New Jersey in 1847.
The New York Nine beat the New York Knickerbockers that day 23-1.
In 1848, gold was discovered at Sutter's Mill in Northern California. As you may expect, many people began coming to California in search of their fortune. They were called the 49ers.
Eureka, there's gold in them there hills. The very next year, California became the 41st state. Its Temecula became part of Riverside County.
The Butterfield Overland Stagecoach, coming west from St. Louis, Missouri, stopped in Temecula.
It only operated for a few years because the great battles of the Civil War interfered with its route.
One of the reasons the Civil War was fought is because most southern states wanted to be able to own slaves, and most northern states wanted to outlaw slavery. Many brave people like Harriet Tubman faced from the south ran to the north where they knew it could be free. Here's some words from Harriet Tubman.
I was born a slave. When I was 29 years old, I ran away to Philadelphia because Pennsylvania was a free state. Over the next 10 years, I helped more than 300 slaves escape to freedom, including my own family.
These slaves traveled through the Underground Railroad. It was a railroad at all. It was a network of hiding places and safe houses for escaping slaves.
The North Star was our guide on this dangerous trip. The constellation, the Little Dipper, which we called the Drinking Gourd, pointed to the North Star, our guide to freedom.
The Civil War between the northern and southern states lasted 4 years.
One and all states were free from slavery. During the war, Abraham Lincoln was president. Here are some of his famous words. I am Abraham Lincoln. In giving freedom to the slaves, we assure freedom to the free. This nation, under God, shall have a new birth of freedom. The government of the people, by the people, and for the people shall not perish from this earth.
The Civil War was especially sad because it divided families and neighbors. Fathers fought sons, brothers fought brothers.
Can you picture the women and children watching the road to see if their father, son, or brother would ever come home again? 600,000 men died during the Civil War.
through 1982 was a quiet time in Temecula. There's a little growth, however. Louis Wolf opened a store by what is now the Shell Station Margarita Avenue. He also became postmaster. The Temecula School District was formed and the ever-busy Louis Wolf first clerk. A very sad thing happened to the Temecula Native Americans. Because of a legal problem, they were made to leave the land and were taken to the hills south of the Temecula River. This land later became the Pechanga Indian Reservation. As an old-timer said, they just dumped them there, they just dumped them.
The period following the Civil War, called the Reconstruction, was painful for the people of the South. They were forced to rejoin the Union of the United States of America.
It was a painful time for Native Americans as well. Many were being forced off their land and into reservations, just as they were in Temecula.
In 1863, work was started on the railroad, which would stretch from Nebraska to California. The Transcontinental Railroad forces met in Utah.
A golden spike joined two rails. By 1882, 11,500 miles of track had been built in the USA. Temecula also had its share of railroad travel.
Using large Chinese crews, the California Southern Railroad completed its line from National City to Temecula through the treacherous granite walls of Temecula.
I've been working on the railroad all the
a railroad, the town of Temecula became established in Old Town. One of the first buildings, the Westward Hotel, was built to house those who worked on the railroad.
It burned down in 1891 but was rebuilt to look the way you see it today.
The post office moved from the old Westward to Manchado Store on Main Street. After winning some land in Temecula and Raffle, Philip Pullman put Temecula Mercantile on Main Street.
(1882 through 1891) was the growth period in Temecula.
In fact, because of improved transportation, many people were moving west to settle and begin communities like Temecula. The U.S. government created the Homestead Act. If a person could build a house and prove they could survive, they were given 160 acres for free.
In 1904, Walter Van and his family bought 85,500 acres.
Most of Temecula Valley and the surrounding land became one of the last free cattle ranches in California.
Is
In 1814, Francis Scott Key watched as the British burned down the city of Washington in the War of 1812. He was so thrilled to see the flag still flying after another feeling, so he wrote down his feelings in a poem.
In 1931, some of his words were put into a tune in choice to be our national anthem. Please stand and join us in the singing of the Star-Spangled Banner. While Bear Ranch was a pretty peaceful place, the world was not.
From the 1940s to the 1970s, the United States was involved in foreign wars.
In 1918, we fought World War I. From 1941 to 1945, we were in World War II.
From 1950 until 1953, we fought in the Korean War. From 1960 to 1972, we fought in Vietnam.
The U.S. had a major depression in the 1930s.
In the 1940s, a severe drought in the Midwest turned the area into a giant dust bowl.
Woody Guthrie, a folk singer-writer, wrote this song during a time when people are losing their homes because they're too poor to make their payments any longer.
California to the Ocean Wild.
In 1964, rail lands were sold to the Kaiser ethnic population. They renamed the land Rancho California.
Many people like the country's atmosphere, excellent schools, popular wineries, and inexpensive housing.
From the 60s to the present, there has been many great changes which has made our country a better place for all its citizens.
Women and men of all races can vote and participate in our democracy.
Here are some voices from the recent past that ask us to remember that we are a nation united despite all our differences.
I am John F. Kennedy. Ask not what your country can do for you, but what you can do for your country.
I am Martin Luther King Jr. I have a dream that one day this nation will rise up and live out the meaning of this creed, that all men are created equal.
We had fun sharing with you and hope you enjoyed our program.